This video is about a driver cried in the street until a tycoon gave her a fortune. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. Part 1. A driver cried in the street until a tycoon gave her a fortune. The rain fell softly on the streets of Millwood, painting a shimmering layer on the cracked asphalt. It was one of those dreary afternoons that seemed to echo the turmoil within Clara's heart. She sat in her car, the engine idling, but her spirit had long since stalled. At 32, Clara had once envisioned a life filled with adventure, laughter, and stability. Now she felt trapped in a downward spiral of misfortune. Her dreams of becoming a certified nurse had been extinguished 2 years ago when her mother fell ill. As she cared for her during those long nights, the burden of her responsibilities eclipsed her aspirations. Clara wiped a tear-streaked face with the back of her hand, contemplating her next move. The bills piled on her kitchen table had become a constant reminder of her struggles. With her mother's medical expenses draining her savings, Clara felt like she was living in a cage made of debt and despair. Just one more ride, she whispered to herself, trying to muster the strength to start her day as an Uber driver. She grabbed her phone, expecting it would bring her a little bit of hope. A notification pinged an alert for a pickup nearby. A flicker of determination ignited in her heart as she maneuvered her car into the flow of traffic. She would get through today, just like the others. Yet, as she drove through the familiar streets of Millwood, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was terribly off. As she arrived at the pickup location, Clara's heart sank. A young woman stood waiting, her expression one of deep sadness. Clara's instinct kicked in. Instead of just driving her passenger, she rolled down her window and offered a gentle smile. "Hey there, everything okay?" she asked, concern spilling into her voice. The woman looked surprised but quickly broke down. "No, not really, my mom. She just lost her job, and I don't know how we were going to pay the rent." Clara's heart ached. She recognized that look of helplessness. "I understand," she said softly. "Life can be really tough sometimes. How about we chat while I drive you home? Maybe it'll help." The woman nodded, grateful for the chance to talk, and climbed into the back seat. As Clara navigated the route, they shared their stories, each word weaving a bond of empathy in the air. "I never thought I'd be in this position," the woman confessed, her voice quivering. "I just graduated, and now I can't find a job. It feels like the world is against me." Clara couldn't help but feel a connection to this stranger. They were both grappling with the weight of life as unpredictability. "I get it," Clara replied, her voice steady despite her own troubles. "But don't lose hope. Sometimes the darkness leads us to the light." As they pulled up in front of the woman's apartment building, she turned to Clara, her eyes glistening. "Thank you for listening. I needed that." Clara smiled faintly, her heart warmed by their exchange. "Just remember, it is okay to ask for help. You are stronger than you think." After the woman stepped out, Clara felt a ripple of sadness wash over her. She glanced at the dashboard clock, realizing that she had spent more time with her passenger than she had intended. Suddenly, the car honked loudly behind her, snapping her back to reality. Frustrated, Clara shifted into gear and drove off, the weight of her own worries pressing heavily on her heart. Hours passed, and Clara found herself parked at a busy intersection during rush hour. With her head resting on the steering wheel, she closed her eyes, overwhelmed by fatigue. Just then, a sudden commotion jolted her awake. A group of pedestrians gathered around a man on the street shouting. Clara squinted, her heart racing. She could see that the man had collapsed, and a woman was frantically trying to revive him. Without thinking, Clara leaped out of her car and rushed toward the scene. "Step back," she shouted, her nursing instincts kicking in. She knelt beside the man, checking for a pulse. "Has anyone called an ambulance?" she asked, her voice steady but urgent. A bystander nodded, still trembling. Clara's hands worked tirelessly as she began chest compressions, her heart racing with adrenaline. "Stay with us," she urged, her voice steady against the chaos. Minutes felt like hours, but finally, the sound of sirens pierced through the noise. The paramedics rushed in, taking over the life-saving efforts. Clara stepped back, breathless and sweaty, her heart still thumping with adrenaline. As she watched them wheel the man into the ambulance, a sense of satisfaction flooded her heart. She had made a difference, even if just for a moment. When she returned to her car, Clara's heart felt a little lighter. But as the sun began to set, the burdens of her financial struggles returned. She had worked all day and earned barely enough to cover her expenses. Just as she was about to drive away, a sleek black car pulled up beside her, blocking her path. Its windows rolled down, revealing a well-dressed man with an air of authority. "Excuse me, ma'am," he called out, his voice commanding yet kind. "I saw you back there with that man. You were incredible." Clara stared at him, confused. "Thank you, but I just did what anyone would do." "No, you saved a life," he insisted, his eyes sparkling with admiration. "My name is Daniel Hart. I am a business owner in the city, and I believe in rewarding those who make a difference." Confused, Clara replied, "I don't need anything, really. I just wanted to help." "I know you did, but that's why I want to offer you something. How about we meet and discuss a potential job?" Clara blinked repeatedly, astonished. "A job? But I am just a driver." "Just a driver? No, you mean much more than that," he said, leaning in closer. "I see potential in you, and I want to help you tap into it." Clara's heart raced. Could this be a turning point? She hesitated, conflicted between skepticism and hope. "What kind of job?" "An opportunity in my company. I am expanding, and I need someone with empathy and resilience. Your experience as a caregiver can really make a difference." Clara's mind spun, her heart filled with conflicting emotions. "I don't know if I am qualified," she admitted, her voice trembling. "You are," Daniel reassured her. "Let us meet tomorrow. You can see the office and we can talk more." As he handed her a business card, Clara felt the spark of something she hadn't experienced in years: hope. "Okay," she finally said, her voice steady. "I'll think about it." With that, Daniel smiled and drove away, leaving Clara in a whirlwind of emotions. As she sat in her car, the rain began to pour again, but this time it felt different. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling a flicker of light in her darkened world. Could this be the beginning of a new chapter? Clara wiped away her tears, letting the warmth of possibility wash over her. As she drove home that night, the weight of her struggles remained, but now there was a glimmer of hope shining through the clouds. Clara had always believed in the resilience of the human spirit, and perhaps, just perhaps, she was about to discover her own strength. The road ahead was uncertain, but with each mile she felt braver, ready to face whatever came her way. And for the first time in a long time, Clara allowed herself to dream again. Part 2: A New Path. Morning light broke through the overcast skies, casting a gentle glow over Millwood. Clara awoke in her modest apartment, her heart racing in anticipation of the day ahead. She glanced at the business card Daniel had given her, the ink named Daniel Hart gleaming in the sunlight. With shaky hands, she smoothed it against the table, her mind swelling with possibilities. Sipping her coffee, Clara knew she had decisions to make. Could she really step away from driving? The thought terrified her. She was used to the wheel beneath her hands, the familiar hum of the engine, and the fleeting connections she made with passengers. But maybe, just maybe, it was time to embrace the unknown. She dressed carefully, her fingers lingering over a simple navy blouse, a choice that made her feel both professional and confident. Staring at herself in the mirror, she whispered, "You can do this." The mantra echoed in her mind as she set out, a blend of trepidation and excitement bubbling within her. Arriving at Hart Enterprises, Clara marveled at the sleek architecture of the building. It felt like stepping into another world, one where dreams were tangible and success brushed against the fingertips of those daring enough to reach for it. The receptionist greeted her warmly, leading her to a conference room where Daniel awaited. "Clara," he exclaimed, his smile genuine as he rose to shake her hand. "I am so glad you came. I hope you found the place okay." "I did, thank you," Clara replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside. "I am excited but nervous." "Perfectly normal," Daniel assured her, gesturing to a seat. "Let us talk about your experience and how it could fit in our vision." As they spoke, Clara shared her story of struggles with her mother's illness, the weight of her responsibilities, and how they ignited her passion for caregiving. Daniel listened intently, nodding as she spoke, his gaze never wavering. "What you've done is remarkable," he said, his tone infused with respect. "You possess qualities that many employees lack: empathy, resilience, and the ability to think on your feet. I need someone who understands people." Clara's heart swelled with a mix of pride and vulnerability. "Ivy always wanted to help others," she admitted, her voice softening. "But it is hard to see how I could do that in a corporate setting." Daniel leaned back, his expression thoughtful. "That is where you re mistaken. We re not just a business, we re a community. Our work impacts lives, and I believe you could help us bridge the gap between clients and services. Together, we could create something beautiful." The spark in his eyes ignited something deep within Clara, a longing to be part of something greater than herself. But doubt poked at her resolve. What if I fail? What if I am not good enough? Failure is simply part of the journey, he replied, his voice steady and reassuring. It's the lessons learned that build us. I believe you have what it takes. After hours of discussion, Clara felt a shift within her, a flicker of hope igniting into a flame. The idea of stepping into this new role felt less like a leap into the unknown and more like a step toward fulfilling her purpose. Okay, she said, her voice firmer now. I'll give it a shot. Excellent. Daniel beamed, his enthusiasm infectious. Let us get started on the onboarding process. As Clara left the office that day, a sense of elation washed over her. She couldn't believe she had taken the plunge. She still had worries her mother, the bills, but a new sense of purpose enveloped her. She was going to make a difference, and that thought alone filled her with immeasurable strength. Over the next few weeks, Clara dove into her new role with unyielding determination. She learned quickly, soaking up everything she could about the company's operations and how they serve the community. With Daniel as her mentor, she felt guided and supported every step of the way. One afternoon, while reviewing client feedback, Clara noticed a pattern. Many clients voiced frustration with the lack of empathy they encountered when seeking help. She felt the ache of recognition. These were people with stories just as compelling as hers, and they deserved to be heard. Daniel, she called, walking into his office with fervor. Yes, what's on your mind? He asked, glancing up from his paperwork. I've been analyzing the feedback, and I'd like to propose a training program for our team, Clara began, excitement bubbling in her voice. It could focus on empathy and active listening to improve client interactions. Daniel tilted his head, intrigued. That's a fantastic idea. Let us develop a framework together. Days turned into weeks as Clara poured her heart into creating the program. She organized workshops, inviting feedback from team members and clients alike. She shared her own story as a way to connect, illustrating the power of empathy in everyday interactions. As the program took shape, Clara felt her confidence blossom. She was no longer just a driver, she was a catalyst for change. The first workshop day arrived, and Clara stood in front of her colleagues, heart pounding but determined. Welcome, everyone, she began, her voice steady. Today, we're going to talk about the transformative power of empathy. It is not just a skill, it is a way of connecting with those we serve. The room buzzed with energy as Clara facilitated discussions. She encouraged her colleagues to share their own stories, creating a safe space filled with understanding and compassion. The workshop became a resounding success, with participants leaving inspired and eager to implement new strategies. As the weeks turned into months, Clara watched the company thrive. Feedback from clients began to shift positively, with many expressing gratitude for the newfound connection they felt with the team. Clara's heart soared, knowing they were making a real impact. But even in her newfound joy, challenges lingered. Clara's mother's health continued to decline, casting shadows on her bright days. Each call from the hospital felt like a tightening vice around her chest. She fought to remain optimistic, but the weight of uncertainty was heavy. One evening, after a particularly tough day, Clara found herself on the balcony, staring at the stars. The world felt so vast and daunting. How am I supposed to handle it all? She whispered into the night. Just then, her phone buzzed an unexpected call from an old friend, Mia. Clara, I was just thinking about you. How are you holding up? Mia's warm voice brought tears to Clara's eyes. Not great, to be honest. I am busy with work, but my mama... Her voice trembled as she fought back tears. I am here for you, always, Mia said softly. Let us meet up. You don't have to go through this alone. In that moment, Clara felt the walls of isolation begin to crumble. I do love that, she replied, her heart a little lighter. Thank you for reaching out. When they met, Clara shared her struggles unabashedly, feeling the weight begin to lift with each word. Mia listened intently, offering comfort and understanding. You are so strong, Clara. You are doing everything you can. Remember to take care of yourself too. The conversation flowed naturally, healing old wounds and reinforcing their bond. Clara realized that leaning on friends didn't equal weakness. It was a reminder that she didn't have to carry the weight alone. As weeks turned into months, Clara forged ahead at work, continuing to drive change within the company while also learning to lean on loved ones. Her mother's health remained a concern, but with each passing day, Clara grew more resilient. The day finally came when Clara's mother was discharged from the hospital. The reunion was filled with tears and laughter, the sweet embrace of family reminding Clara of the importance of love and connection. I am so proud of you, Clara, her mother said, her voice strong despite her frail appearance. You've blossomed. Clara smiled through her tears. I couldn't have done it without you, Mom. You inspired me to fight for what truly matters. As they embraced, Clara felt the fire of determination reignite within her. She knew life would continue to present challenges, but she was no longer afraid. She had discovered not just the beauty of resilience, but the power of connection, the kind that transcends despair and nurtures hope. Clara's journey was far from over, but she now walked it with her heart wide open, ready to face every challenge with grace and courage. The road ahead, though uncertain, shimmered with promise as she embraced the beauty of the human spirit that thrived within her. In the heart of Melwood, where dreams are forged in struggle, Clara learned that hope is a flame that can never be extinguished, no matter how dark the night may seem. Part 3, A Flight of Hope. As spring began to blossom in Melwood, Clara awoke each morning invigorated by the sweet scent of new beginnings. She had navigated through the winter of her challenges, yet she still recognized the shadows lingering at the edges of her life. With her mother recovering, it felt like the right time to embrace the future with open arms. Yet the thought of balancing her responsibilities continued to gnaw at her. "Mom, are you feeling alright today?" Clara asked, her heart fluttering as she prepared breakfast in their cozy kitchen. "I am fine, sweetheart," her mother replied, a faint smile gracing her lips as she sipped her tea. "I am just grateful to be home. You've been working so hard, Clara, I see it, and I am proud of you." "I am just doing my best," Clara responded, fighting back the well of emotions rising in her chest. "But I wish I could do more." Her mother's gaze softened. "You're already doing more than I could have ever imagined. Just being here for me is enough." With those words echoing in her heart, Clara spent her days at Heart Enterprises, pouring her passion into every project. She was on a mission to create a culture of empathy within the company. Each day brought new challenges, from navigating office politics to creating programs that resonated with both her team and clients. One Friday afternoon, Clara found herself surrounded by sticky notes and posters in the conference room, brainstorming ideas for a community outreach program. The walls were adorned with colorful sketches and plans, capturing her fervor to give back to those who needed it most. "Okay, team," Clara said, her voice firm yet encouraging as her colleagues gathered around the table. "Let us focus on our local shelters. They were always in need of support, and I think we could organize a donation drive." "I love that idea," one of her colleagues, Mark, chimed in. "But we need to ensure we're not just dropping supplies off. How about we volunteer and spend time with the families there?" "Yes, sir," Clara exclaimed. "That's the spirit. Let us create a program that not only provides essentials but also brings a sense of connection and hope." The room buzzed with excitement as ideas flowed, and Clara felt a surge of exhilaration. Her vision was becoming a reality, and she could see the impact they would have on the community. But amid the joy, a cloud of anxiety lingered. Balancing work, caring for her mother, and managing her own emotional well-being felt overwhelming. Later that evening, Clara sat at her kitchen table, a pile of bills before her. The numbers blurred as her mind raced. "How am I supposed to handle all this?" she muttered to herself, frustration bubbling to the surface. Clara picked up her phone, scrolling through her contacts until she found Mia's name. "Hey, Clara, how's everything?" Mia's voice was a soothing balm. "Honestly, Mia, I am feeling a bit lost," Clara admitted, her voice trembling. "Work is going well, but with my mom's recovery, I feel stretched thin. I am worried I won't be able to keep up." "Clara, it is okay to feel that way. You're doing so much right now. Have you thought about slowing down a bit?" Mia asked gently. "Slowing down feels impossible," Clara replied. "But maybe I need to find a balance. It is just hard to let go of the fear of falling behind. Remember, you don't have to do it all perfectly. Allow yourself to lean on others. You've got people who care about you," Mia reminded her. Clara took a deep breath. "You're right, I'll try. Thank you for always being there." As they hung up, Clara felt a flicker of warmth in her chest. She realized that it was okay to accept help and that sharing her burdens could lighten her load. That weekend, she arranged for Mia to join her in volunteering at the shelter. The next Saturday dawned bright and hopeful. Clara and Mia arrived at the shelter, greeted by the sight of families gathering for breakfast. The aroma of pancakes wafted through the air as laughter and chatter filled the space. Clara felt a rush of gratitude. "Let us get started," Clara said, her heart racing with excitement. Together, they set up tables and served food, chatting with families and sharing smiles. Clara was reminded of her own past, how her mother's strength had encouraged her to push through difficulties. "Your spirit is contagious," the mother said, her eyes shining as she watched Clara interact with her children. "Thank you for being here." Clara's heart felt full. "Thank you for sharing this moment with us. It means a lot," she replied, feeling the warmth of connection wrap around her like a comforting blanket. In that moment, Clara understood the power of community, the beauty of shared experiences. She realized that while her journey had been fraught with struggles, it also bore an abundance of hope. As she looked around at the smiles, she felt a sense of purpose reignite within her. Later that afternoon, as they finished up, Clara and Mia stepped outside. They stood quietly, soaking in the sun, both feeling a sense of peace. "I am so glad we did this," Clara said, her voice steady. "It reminded me of what really matters." Mia nodded, her eyes sparkling. "You are making a difference, Clara. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Lean on me whenever you need to." With renewed determination, Clara returned to the office on Monday, her heart lighter. She shared stories of their volunteering experience with the team, igniting excitement for the outreach program. The atmosphere buzzed with enthusiasm, and they organized logistics for the donation drive, ready to make a positive impact in their community. As weeks passed, Clara felt an incredible transformation within herself. She embraced her role as a leader, guiding her team with empathy. They developed a robust program that provided essential supplies and fostered connections with families in need. Clara found herself thriving, her spirit buoyed by the love and kindness she encountered. But amidst all this joy, Clara still faced personal challenges. One evening, as she visited her mother, she noticed her struggling to catch her breath. Panic surged through Clara. "Mom, are you okay?" she asked, rushing to her side. "I am just tired, dear," her mother replied, trying to smile through the struggle. "That's just part of the process." Clara felt the weight of fear pressed down on her chest. "I hate seeing you like this. I wish I could take the pain away." Her mother's hand grasped hers, a gesture filled with love. "You are doing everything you can, Clara. You are stronger than you know. I am proud of the woman you are becoming." Tears streamed down Clara's cheeks. "I am scared." "That is normal, but remember, strength doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward despite it," her mother said, her voice filled with conviction. In that moment, Clara felt a surge of courage. She could honor her mother's strength by continuing to chase her dreams. "I will keep moving forward, Mom, for you." With renewed purpose, Clara found herself at work the next day, bringing her mother's wisdom into action. The company's outreach program blossomed, and Clara felt a sense of fulfillment like never before. She saw the tangible impact of their efforts as families expressed gratitude for their support. One day, as Clara was finalizing plans for a community event, Daniel approached her in the hallway. "Clara, I've been hearing amazing things about the outreach program. I am so proud of your work." "Thank you, Daniel. I couldn't have done it without the team," Clara said, her heart swelling with pride. "Your leadership is inspiring. You've recreated a culture of kindness here," he replied, his voice sincere. "I believe you have a bright future ahead." Encouraged by his words, Clara felt a wave of warmth wash over her. "I am just trying to make a difference," she said softly. "That is exactly what you are doing," Daniel grinned. "Let us keep this momentum going. The world needs more people like you." As Clara left the office that evening, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was learning that the beauty of the human spirit lay in resilience, kindness, and connection. It was in the shared laughter, the tears shed, and the challenges faced together that hope flourished. Weeks turned into months, and Clara's mother continued to improve, bringing joy to their home. Clara's heart felt lighter, her burdens eased by the support of her friends and community. She learned to embrace the messiness of life's ups and downs while holding onto the hope that blossomed within her. One Sunday afternoon, Clara drove to the shelter for another volunteering session. As she stepped inside, the warmth of the community enveloped her. Families filled the room, laughter echoing against the walls. Clara felt a sense of belonging, a reminder of the strength inherent in shared stories. "Clara," a familiar face waved, and she smiled back, her heart swelling. The love she had poured into the outreach program had come full circle. As she engaged with the families, Clara felt the weight of her past struggles evolve into something beautiful, a tapestry of resilience, community, and hope. She understood that life's journey was a continuous dance between challenges and triumphs. That day, Clara realized she was no longer just a driver or caregiver. She was a beacon of light. Part 4, Unfolding Wings. As the sun dipped low over Millwood, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Clara stood at the entrance of the shelter, her heart aflutter with anticipation. The warmth of community enveloped her, wrapping her in a softness that felt like home. Today was special. It marked the launch of the outreach program she tirelessly developed with her team. It was a moment she had envisioned, and it was finally coming to life. "Clara!" Mia's voice broke through her reverie, and Clara turned to see her friend approaching, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Are you ready for today?" "More than ready," Clara replied, her heart racing. I've been looking forward to this for weeks. It feels surreal that we finally made it happen. You've poured your soul into this, and I can't wait to see the family's faces, Mia said, her expression filled with admiration. You've created something beautiful here. Together, they entered the shelter, greeted by the familiar scent of warm food and the sound of families chatting, children giggling, and the soft clatter of utensils against plates. Clara felt the wave of gratitude wash over her. This was not just about providing meals, it was about creating connections, sharing stories, and nurturing hope. As the event unfolded, Clara moved through the room, engaging with families, listening to their stories, and inviting them to share their dreams. What is your favorite part of the community, and what would you love to see improved? She asked a little girl who sat at a table adorned with colorful drawings. I love the swings in the park, but I wish they would fix the slide, the girl replied animatedly, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. Sounds like a wonderful idea. Maybe we can think of ways to make that happen, Clara said, feeling the spark of inspiration ignite within her. Your voice matters. Clara spent the afternoon facilitating activities while the volunteers cooked meals and arranged supplies for families. She could see the joy in their eyes as they engaged with her, each interaction reinforcing her belief that she was making a difference. Later, as the event began winding down, Clara gathered everyone for a final circle. Thank you all for being here today, she said, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. Together, we've created something truly special. I believe that when we come together, we can make our community stronger. Applause erupted, and her heart swelled with pride. As families shared their gratitude, Clara felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known before. This was what she had fought for, a chance to connect, to uplift, and to inspire hope. But as she looked around the room, a familiar weight tugged at her heartstrings. For every smile and laughter, there were stories of hardship and resilience. She thought of her mother, who had fought valiantly against her illness, and the fear that still lingered in Clara's mind. Could she truly balance this newfound purpose with her responsibilities at home? Later that evening, seated at her kitchen table with her mother, Clara poured out her heart. Mom, today was incredible, but sometimes I feel overwhelmed. I want to make a difference, but I am scared that I won't be able to juggle everything. Her mother reached across the table, clasping Clara's hand with a gentle squeeze. Sweetheart, it is okay to feel that way. You've taken on a lot, and it is a beautiful thing to want to help others, but remember, you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. I just don't want to let anyone down. I am afraid of failing, Clara admitted, tears brimming in her eyes. Failure is part of growing, Clara. You've already achieved so much, and your heart is in the right place. Lean on those who care about you. I am proud of you, and I believe in you, her mother said, her voice steady and comforting. Clara took a deep breath, absorbing her mother's words. Thank you, Mom. I'll try to be kinder to myself. The following week saw Clara's outreach program thrive. With each donation drive and community event, she felt the impact of her work ripple through Millwood. Yet, there were days when the heaviness of her responsibilities felt insurmountable. Balancing her job, her mother's health, and her outreach ambitions left her drained, and Clara found herself questioning her capacity. One evening, after a particularly demanding day, Clara confided in Mia during their weekly catch-up over coffee. I am exhausted, Mia. It is like I am constantly running on empty. I want to be there for my mom, for the community, and for my work, but it feels like I am spread too thin. Mia listened intently, her expression softening with understanding. Clara, you're doing so much, and it is okay to take a step back. You don't have to do it all at once. Focus on what brings you joy in this journey. But I fear that if I slow down, everything will fall apart, Clara replied, her voice cracking under the weight of her fears. Sometimes, slowing down can give you the clarity you need to move forward. It is not a sign of weakness, but rather a step towards sustainability, Mia encouraged gently. Remember that your well-being matters too. Clara nodded, absorbing her friend's wisdom. That night, she resolved to carve out moments for herself. She cleared her schedule over the weekend and decided to take a day to recharge, reconnect, and reflect. As the sun rose on Saturday, Clara found herself wandering through Millwood's botanical gardens, a sanctuary filled with vibrant blossoms and fragrant earth. The beauty around her was a stark reminder of life's resilience. She took a deep breath, feeling the stress of the past weeks begin to melt away as she wandered through the trails. A soft voice pulled her from her thoughts. Clara. She turned to see a familiar face in her heart, the Tycoon who had first offered her a job. Daniel, what a nice surprise, Clara said, a smile breaking across her face. I often come here to think. The gardens have a way of grounding you, don't they? He replied, his eyes scanning the colorful blooms. They really do. I needed a bit of peace today, Clara admitted, grateful for the moment of connection. I've been meaning to catch up with you. I've heard wonderful things about your outreach program. The community is buzzing with excitement, he said, his admiration evident. It has been a labor of love, Clara said, her heart swelling with pride. But it has also been challenging. I am trying to find the balance between my responsibilities and my aspirations. You are doing something remarkable, Clara, but remember, even the strongest leaders need to recharge, Daniel advised, his voice steady. Taking time for yourself isn't a setback, it is an investment in your growth. I know, but it is hard to let go of the pressure, Clara confessed, the vulnerability in her voice surprising her. Life is about the ebb and flow. Just like these gardens, things need time to grow. Sometimes that means stepping back to nurture yourself, he replied, a warm smile gracing his lips. Clara felt a weight lift, the wisdom in his words resonating within her. Thank you, Daniel, I needed to hear that. Anytime, he said, a twinkle in his eye. Now tell me more about the next steps for your program. As they strolled through the gardens, Clara shared her vision for the outreach initiative, and Daniel listened intently, offering insights and encouragement. She felt a renewed sense of hope as they brainstormed ideas together, realizing that she wasn't alone in this journey. Days turned into weeks, and Clara found herself revitalized, ready to embrace the challenges ahead. She practiced self-care, allowing herself to slow down and cherish the little moments with her mother and friends. Each deep breath reminded her of the importance of balance. With newfound energy, Clara returned to Heart Enterprises more committed than ever. She led her team with passion, emphasizing the value of empathy and community connection. They continued to make strides, enhancing their outreach program and building partnerships with local organizations. One afternoon, as Clara prepared for another community event, an unexpected call from the hospital sent ripples of fear coursing through her. Hello, she answered, her heart racing. Clara, this is Dr. Patel. I wanted to update you on your mother's health, the doctor said, his voice steady yet uncertain. Is everything okay? Clara asked, dread pulling in her stomach. Your mother has shown remarkable progress, but we're seeing some complications. I'd like you to come in for a consultation, he said gently. Clara's heart sank. I'll be there as soon as I can, she replied, trying to steady her trembling hands. The fear of losing her mother loomed over her like a storm cloud. When Clara arrived at the hospital, her heart raced as she stepped into a waiting room. She found her mother sitting on the hospital bed, a frail smile on her face that instantly brought Clara comfort. Hey, sweetheart, I am glad you're here, her mother said, her voice weak but warm. Mom, what did the doctor say? Clara asked, her heart aching. They were recommending some new treatments. It is going to take time, but I am determined to fight, her mother replied, her eyes filled with resilience. Clara's heart broke at the sight of her mother,